Hello.
Hello. Hi, it's you.
Yeah, just woken up from a stupor.
Have you? Well, that's boding well, isn't it?
Yeah, don't expect much this week.
Oh dear. Does that mean I have to be the lively one?
If you wouldn't mind, that would be really helpful.
Are you having a bit of a bad time of it?
Just a bit of light insomnia.
Oh no. That's horrible, isn't it?
It could be worse. But,
Yeah.
it's a bit annoying, especially when you've got a busy day ahead and a very exciting podcast to record.
Yeah. I can't understand it, Jamie. You live on a farm surrounded by sheep and you can't get to sleep at night. I mean, surely
That's where I'm going wrong. I haven't even thought about that.
Just open the window, look outside and count them.
Yeah, well, it's dark, so it's difficult to see. But,
Oh, yeah.
I'll
Good
get
point. You can paint them in luminous paint, I suppose.
There you go. I think that might be an animal welfare
Right.
thing coming up there. But thanks for suggesting it. Anyway, did you sleep well?
I always sleep like a log, thank you very much. You know, covered in moss and flies.
That's a nice
there's an
thought. Yeah. Oh, nice, lovely. Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
any other funny things you want to say before we get on with this podcast?
No, I think I'll save them for later.
Brilliant. I look forward to it on this, the 47th pod of the Jerry Anderson podcast.
It's the Jerry Anderson Podcast!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get started. Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
The Jerry Anderson Podcast with Jamie Anderson and Richard James.
Here we are!
We are here. And
Yes.
I'm full of the joys of 2 hours sleep.
Yes.
But I'm not going to let it show. I'm going to pretend like I've woken up fresh as a daisy from the
Yeah.
best night's sleep of my life.
Great. Bluff it, exactly. If in doubt, bluff.
Yep. So this is the Jerry Anderson podcast.
Yes, it's true.
You are
Who-
Richard James.
And you must be Jamie Anderson.
Correct. And we're here to talk about Jerry Anderson stuff for about 90 minutes or so. And Richard has got his usual intro gubbins here.
Yes, so this is what you have to look forward to over the next hour and a half or so. I'm going to do these in reverse order, I think, of listeners' favourites. So we'll have the second part of the interview with Mary Anderson. I don't think I'm spoiling that because you did trail it last week. That'll be coming up a little later.
Yeah.
In third position of listeners' favourites, we have Christelle's Amazing Randomizer, of course, coming up a little later. And in second position, no, I'm doing this the wrong way round, aren't I?
I was going to say the interview's the favourite. So
Oh, we've got some news, of course, coming up, and everyone's fourth favourite item of the show, Fab Facts, coming up in just a little while, I assume. In the
won't be
meantime,
long.
of course, we have been hearing from you all week on podcast at jerryanderson.co.uk. We'll be reading out some listeners' emails and also some tweets, because you can get in touch with us on Twitter. Just hashtag your tweet with hashtag Jerry Anderson Podcast, and you can tag either him, I'm Jamie Anderson, or me, Richard N. James, and we will see your tweets. And last of all, please don't forget to subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening to us on, and leave us a nice review and share us with your friends. And also, for the next week or so, don't forget you can vote for us at the British Podcast Awards.
keep forgetting about this thing.
No, just go to BritishPodcastAwards.com. There's a little search bar, type in the Jerry Anderson Podcast, our little logo will pop up. Click on it, enter your email so you can verify your vote, and click vote. And we'd be ever so grateful.
We would. We'd be more than grateful. We'd be delighted.
Yeah.
Is delighted more than grateful? I think it is.
Well, it's slightly different, isn't it, to be delighted and grateful? You can be grateful without being delighted.
Yeah, but do you think the intensity of being delighted is more than that of being grateful? Anyway, what Richard neglected to mention was that you can
Yes.
also join our Podsterons Facebook group at
Indeed.
facebook.com/groups/Podsterons. That's PODSTERONS.
Yes.
And I'm sure Richard will be reading out lots of things from that group today.
Yeah,
as
absolutely.
well.
Very, very busy there. So people are posting their top tens, and we'll have one of those a little later on. People are posting pictures of themselves in their various cosplays. They're posting pictures of the latest merch they've bought, posting memories, and all sorts of stuff. So get involved on the Facebook page. It's a really lively, friendly community, and you won't
It is,
regret
isn't it?
And one thing that Jamie's neglected to mention, if you're listening to this on Monday and you're expecting to join us this evening for Fab Live, Well, it won't be happening, so
No.
we won't be there, I'm afraid. So we're taking a month off, and we hope to be back with you in June. This is our almost monthly Facebook and YouTube live broadcast, first Monday of every month, just about. But we're having a missing out in May, and we'll be back in June. We hopefully will be doing it live from the Fab Worlds of Anderson at the Space Centre in
Hopefully,
Leicester.
yeah, tech allowing, but we'll
Yeah.
mention that again in the news if you want to know more about our
Yeah.
appearance in inverted commas at the Fab Worlds of
Exactly.
Anderson. Yes. But what Richard has neglected to mention, no, I can't think of anything else, Richard.
Oh,
that
that's
is
a
it
shame.
now.
I thought we had a nice theme going there.
The whole podcast could be that. No,
Yes.
let's not do that. I'm sure listeners will get very bored of it. So yes, but that's it, isn't it, for the intro stuff? Everybody knows what we're doing now, even if they're here for the first time or the 47th time.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's about it.
47th time.
I know, imagine that. How could you?
So sorry to those who are actually here for the 47th time. But thank you for joining us again. Thank you for coming back and showing us some sympathy and support.
Yeah.
And we're going to
Do need
repay
it.
that
Oh, yeah? What are
with
we going to do
your
now?
fourth favourite part of the show, listeners, which is Fab Facts.
Oh, right. Oh, here they are. Come on, boys. Yes. All right. Squeeze in. Yes, plenty of room at the back.
Oh,
Is
sorry.
that new guy on the trombone there? I've not seen him before. Yeah. Hi.
Yeah, that's Sheridan.
Come in, Sheridan. Make yourself at home.
He's new to the group, but
Yeah, great.
He
Love
does
it.
a really nice little ripple.
Little trombone slide.
Oh, you were going to go for a slide? I was going for a ripple. Okay, fair enough. Trombone ripple,
Yeah.
rubbish
Sounds like a chocolate
flavour
bar.
of ice cream. Oh,
Hey.
oh,
what
interesting.
is
We're-
going on? It's just
don't
not.
know.
Anyway.
We're not simpatico today.
We're
are
not
we?
at all, are we?
Anyway, Fab Facts is where I've got a book of Fab Facts, which is
Yes.
here. You can hear it now.
Oh, there it is.
I flick through the pages. Richard shouts Fab. I pick a fact, probably from the page, maybe, unless it's a picture page, and then I'll flip around some more. It's
Yeah.
all very fast and loose here at the Jerry Anderson podcast. And then we'll
I think they've
discuss.
noticed.
Yes, I know. Sorry, listeners. We'll discuss and debunk or talk about or something to do with the fact. Oh, careful, Richard. Are you all right there?
No, I'm just taking a sip of coffee. I've got a bit of. You know, when you get a bit of scale at the bottom of the cup from the
no.
kettle. Anyway. Yes,
And that's
carry
this
on.
week's Fab Fact. No. No, so that's it. I've already explained it, and we'll talk
Oh.
about the fact, probably.
Okay.
So, without further messing around or coughing and spluttering from you, here's
Yes.
the book, Richard. Are you ready to shout Fab? Because this
Born
week
ready.
I'm going to go from the back of the book.
Ooh, mixing it up.
First week ever.
Great.
Here we go.
Fab. Hey.
Gosh. Well,
You've probably got
for,
onto an appendix page or something, have you?
for listeners
Right
who like
back.
to play along at home and have their own copy of Fab Facts.
Yes.
Page 83.
Ooh,
which
lovely,
we just
great.
Stopped on.
Yeah. Good. You can't find anything of interest.
I'm trying. Well,
Yeah.
I think what's happened here is because it's the back of the book.
They've run out of fab
They've
facts.
run out of facts. So, well, they're still facts, but they're definitely not fab.
Right,
They're sort
okay.
Of flimsy facts.
Flimsy
so,
facts.
So this week, because
Yeah.
of the flimsy nature of these facts at the back of the book, I'm giving you 3 fab facts.
Okay, great.
Because they don't really require much discussion, but hopefully you'll find at least one of them vaguely fab.
Yeah.
So, fact F, the character of Lady Penelope was aged 26 in Thunderbirds.
Oh, but that is interesting. And what never aged throughout the whole. It's rather like this. The Simpsons have
only
been
32
over 30
episodes.
years, and Bart's still 7. You know.
Yeah, but they were only going for
Yeah.
a year and a half or
Okay.
whatever, a couple of
Yeah.
years.
Were any birthdays ever celebrated in Thunderbirds?
Not really. I'm sure there was a birthday.
Yeah.
There was certainly a birthday in Terrorhawks with
Hmm.
a Zeroid cake, which I always thought looked rather disgusting. Anyway,
I'm sure Sergeant Fredo had a birthday in Space Precinct,
did he?
or maybe his daughter. I can't remember.
Our memory's not great here, but listeners, if you want to
Yeah.
write in, podcast
Please
at
do.
GaryAnderson.co.uk, let us know some on-screen birthdays if they're celebrated. Fact A, see what I'm doing, F-A-B here?
Oh, I
Fact A,
see.
all of Jerry Anderson's colour TV series were screened in black and white until 1969 in the UK, despite the fact that everything from Stingray was made in colour.
Oh,
There's a delay in
Yes.
universal colour transmission, I guess.
that's right.
So
So
we
where
go.
would they have been broadcast in colour first, I wonder?
Probably in the US, I guess. Was the US ahead of the game? They must have been, because for Stingray, Bob Bell and co. went over to the US to visit NBC, I think, to learn about how to make sets and shoot in colour. Because
Right.
You couldn't just take the black and white although they were made in colour, the black and white versions, because there were some colours that didn't show up very well on the film stock at the time. And lots of stuff.
Yes.
So there you go. So that's fact
Good.
A.
Yeah.
And fact B
I like it.
of the FAB sequence, which everybody will know. The voice of Virgil Tracy changed during production of Thunderbirds when Jeremy Wilkin took over the original artist's role from David Holliday.
Yes, that's right.
Which
true.
it's a shame. I mean, Jeremy Wilkin was a lovely man and did some great voices,
Yeah.
but he didn't have the same warmth and I don't know. There's something really nice about David Holliday's Virgil voice, which it was my. Obviously, everybody's favourite is Scott Tracy because of the kind of the iconic, serious nature of Shane Rimmer's delivery. But Virgil, I don't know. I just felt like you could be friends with Virgil and you really trust him, and he wouldn't boss you around.
Right.
And Jeremy did a sterling job with the second voice, but it just wasn't the same, and I really missed it in those last 6 episodes.
Maybe that's the legacy of coming in and sort of joining an already established cast of voices.
Very difficult.
And very difficult, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
Of course,
Lou
it came
Hirsch
to-
must have struggled in Space Precinct.
Well, don't we know it? And Jeremy Wilkin, of course, came to Andercon in Leicester, didn't he? In 13?
15.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is lovely.
He was great, yes,
Yeah.
and a really nice man. And he wasn't very well then either. And he made a real effort with the fans, and he was a lovely chap. But I never met David Holliday, sadly.
No, sure.
So
Why
now-
was he replaced? Or
I think David
non-availability?
went back to Canada or back to the US to be in a soap or something, something that paid better, and he felt had better prospects than staying around for 6 episodes of Thunderbirds.
fair enough?
So shame.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to something with a little better prospects coming up, so I don't have to do this podcast every week. But it doesn't seem to be happening yet.
Good luck with that, Richard.
Yeah.
Anyway, that brings us very neatly, your resignation there, to the end of this week's
Flimsy
Flimsy
Facts.
Facts. Marvellous.
There we are.
Yeah, I do feel a bit like Fab Facts is going downhill fast, Richard, after
Well,
last
it did
week's...
start from a very high bar, didn't it, to be
No, I
honest?
know, that's worrying then, isn't it?
And we do
well.
know, actually, Jamie, lots of people do play along at home because people have been posting in the Facebook group that they've been ordering the book. So they're all flicking through at home, to coin a phrase. Anyway, let's get back to some tweets that we've had via
Yes.
Twitter, of course. Brandon Gant got in touch to say, I really enjoyed this episode of the Jerry Anderson podcast. It gave real insight into the second half of Jerry's life from the late 70s onwards. So this will be pod 46 with the first part of the interview with Mary Anderson. I don't know how much cajoling you had to do, Jamie, but I appreciate it, he says. Can't wait until the next part. Hashtag thanks Mummy A. Isn't that?
Yeah, there were quite a few
weren't
hashtag thanks
you?
Mummy A, and all sorts of variations of that as
Yeah,
well. People
yeah,
making
which
up
is
their
lovely.
own Mummy A hashtags.
That's right. Melvin got in touch on Twitter as well, hashtagging Jerry Anderson podcast, said, walking my baby puppy on a very fine North Carolina day listening to the Jerry Anderson podcast. I can't not whistle the Fab Facts tune, he says. Also, special hashtag thanks Mummy A. Great interview. So isn't that lovely?
That's really nice, yeah. Well, I was a bit nervous about, bringing Mum onto the podcast. 'cause
Right, yes.
It could easily be a bit weird, I guess.
No, really
But-
interesting stuff, I think.
Yeah, I found it really interesting, and I'm really
Yeah.
glad that listeners have too. And 2 more parts to come.
That's right. So flashing forward a little bit, what do we have to look forward to in the interview later in the pod for the second part?
Well, so we dealt with the end of the 70s and the early 80s in the last one. So this one will be going through Dad's kind of advertising
Right.
period in his life.
Yeah.
And right up to Space Precinct, I think.
Right. Great. Interesting.
So-
Does she mention me at all?
Yes, actually, I think you do get a mention, Richard, although I'm not entirely sure how favourable it is. So maybe best that you skip this episode of the Jerry Anderson podcast.
And finally, Stephen Watson also got in touch on Twitter in answer to the question from Chris Dale. As someone who was a kid in the 60s, I think that as Thunderbirds was so exciting to me, I would have lapped up a clip show of previous episodes. So this is in response to the last week's randomizer, which was the
Security
Thunderbirds
Hazard.
Security Hazard sort of compilation episode.
Yeah.
Stephen Watson saying there he'd quite like to have seen such a thing when he was young.
Yeah, but I guess at the time, again, if
Yeah.
you're talking about the 60s, you didn't have any home entertainment. There was no
That's
DVD, no videotape, nothing like that. The best you could hope for was one of those mini albums.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to see it. So actually, to revisit those old episodes in quickfire form, I guess
Yeah.
that would have been cool.
Of course it would. That's right. Yeah, because you would never have seen them again otherwise. Yeah.
No, exactly. So I'm glad it would have made your 1960s self very happy.
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to our Christmas episode when we replay all the best bits from our past 100 pods or whatever it'll be by then.
It'll be
Not
80
quite, will
something,
it?
won't
Yeah,
it?
yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
pretty scary.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. How long will that take? The best bits from 80 pods? 10 minutes?
Yeah.
5?
Probably. It's just the opening theme tune.
And the closing.
And then I'll say goodbye at the end.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Looking forward to the Christmas episode in that case. Anyway, Richard, any more tweets or Facebook things or anything?
Well, there's
before we move
always
on?
things going on. Absolutely. So
We've always
over on
got
our
tons of them.
Facebook listeners group, that's facebook.com/groups/podsterons, Paul Main wrote, of all the Jerry Anderson merchandise produced over the years, my favourites by far were the fantastic Century 21 mini albums. The best way to get a Superman fix in the days before VHS, DVD and Blu-ray, as we were just saying. I'm fortunate to have a complete set of every one and still listen to them today. FAB. And Megan also posted a picture on the group. Thought you might be interested in what I found while having lunch at a local cafe in my hometown. And posted a picture of a Thunderbird 1 toy she spotted on a shelf. That's rather nice.
It is
Adam
amazing
Reed.
when these things crop up.
Yeah, Adam Reed. I mean, I don't know what he's been drinking. He loves the randomness and elegance of the Fab Facts feature. I mean, I think this week's might have disabused him of that opinion.
Oh yeah, this week and last week were a bit of a mess. We'll up our game for next week.
And he posted a picture of his own copy, which is signed by many Jerry Anderson stalwarts, which is very good.
Oh, nice.
Enjoyed
Lovely.
that. Yeah. So yes, please do join in the Facebook group. There'll be 3 questions to answer when you apply, and once you've answered those, then I personally, being the gatekeeper of the group, which is a name I've now afforded myself. And I'm going to have a special uniform for it.
Yes.
And a badge.
Is that the polka dot dress, Richard? Your
That's
special
the
uniform?
one.
Yeah.
Then there's an image for you, listeners. Then I shall let you in personally in my polka dot dress.
Brilliant. That is an image. And listeners in the group, if you are inviting friends to join, we absolutely welcome that. But please don't bulk invite 500 friends because they won't know what's going on and they won't answer the questions and they won't get in, and it just makes more work for Richard. Be very selective, invite people you think are going to enjoy it and message them to say you've invited them and that they've got to answer the 3 questions or they'll never be a part of the group.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well said. Yeah, great. So there we are. There's a few tweets and there's a few Facebook posts. I think it's time to move on to some exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, go on, Richard. What's the hashtag?
Newsy news.
Well, Richard,
Yes.
we've got some potentially multi-billion pound news here, and it's not one of your emails from your
Right.
spam
Yeah.
folder.
Oh, right, okay.
Did you see? I mean, I was tweeted about this before I had actually heard about it. The potential for Thunderbird's involvement at some sort of theme park in Kent.
Now, I have seen this flying around the ether, yes.
Yeah. Now,
Do you know more?
not really, and I have asked ITV for more information. In fact, I'm speaking to them later this morning, so I might find out. In fact, I'm speaking to them in 35 minutes from now. We better hurry up
We better.
to try and find out more information. Now, I'm pretty sure that this deal that they've done with this big, massive 530-acre theme park or whatever, it sounds ridiculous, but I'm pretty sure that's what they said in the news reports.
Yeah.
This thing's been delayed and is very expensive, and it was originally with partnering with Paramount, who dropped out, and since the news report about ITV signing the deal with them, Aardman have dropped out. So I'm not entirely convinced how likely that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it might be that there'll be some Thunderbirds elements at this kind of a British version of Disneyland. I mean,
Yeah.
it should be. There should be a Jerry
course.
Anderson world, really.
Of course there should. Absolutely there should.
But sadly, I don't think that's going to happen. But I wouldn't be surprised if this Thunderbirds element of the theme park will be ITV's new one and not the classic series, which is rather a shame. But
Yeah.
if we hear any more, we'll let you know, listeners.
Exactly. Yeah, how interesting.
Well, or potentially not.
I wonder if there'll be a Richard James corner.
What, where you go and sit on your own?
Yeah, the naughty corner.
Yeah. I was thinking more like Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, where you sort of stand there and deliver monologues or something.
I could do that.
I bet you could.
I'd be up for that.
Well, there's a draw. Get in touch with the people and see if they'll partner with you.
Yeah, thanks.
Richard James Corner or Orin's Oratory.
Orange Nook. No, no, sorry about
Right,
that.
let's move on. Thunderbirds fans, if you want something that is tangible and real and is available now, then you can get some Thunderbird shot glasses, which are just out today, in fact, if you're
Ooh.
listening on the day of release.
Yeah?
They're rather smart.
How many of those are there?
Well, How many do you think?
Well, 5.
Correct, Richard. I can see you're really getting into this Thunderbirds and Anderson thing. It's quite impressive. So yes, they're very cool. I think it's $13.99 for the set of 5. They're
lovely.
really nice. There've been some ones before that were a bit less so good, but these are nice designs and they look really cool. So there you go. Now, Richard.
Oh yes.
The perennial discussion that comes up amongst fans is broadcast order versus production order.
Oh,
when it
and
comes to
don't
episodes,
we
isn't
know it? I mean, there's a whole evening at the bar right there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well,
Probably
you
coming
need
up.
a whole evening at the bar to deal with the discussion. Anyway, our very own Chris Dale has done an article about why there are so many different episode orders. So if you want to know about that, why the different episode orders exist, if there is a definitive one or not, then head over to the Jerry Anderson website, jerryanderson.co.uk, and look up Chris's article, which is entitled Mindbender.
Oh, is it now?
Yeah, because it is a
Great.
mind bender as to why there
Sure.
are so many things. And obviously that's a UFO episode, isn't it, Richard? As you
Yeah, indeed,
well, you
yes.
know. So go and check that out. And if you can, if you've got any other suggestions or additions whether Chris has missed out something, do comment in the discussion below the article.
Oh, well, that's opening up a floodgate of...
Yeah, can of worms, here we come.
Yeah.
Now, Richard,
Yes.
we mentioned last week our 1 year anniversary / 50th episode type thing that's happening.
right.
So there are 2 separate things happening. So to avoid confusion, let's go in chronological order. Our 50th
Great.
episode in 3 episodes' time.
Yes.
Is that right? 48,
Yes.
50. Yeah, sort
It will
of.
be.
We're going to be answering questions that you send in, Podsterons. So send in your questions either to the email address podcast@jerryanderson.co.uk or tweet them to us with the hashtag 50 questions.
Yeah.
50 questions.
That's it. Yeah.
And we'll make a list, hopefully, of 50 questions, and Richard and I will alternate and rapid fire through them, and that'll
Yeah.
be the feature for Pod 50.
Yeah.
But more excitingly, I think, and we've really done that 50 questions thing to make the anniversary podcast seem even better, right?
Yeah, that's
we're
and we've got a special guest, of course. You've
We're
neglected
taking
to
it
mention.
to-
we'll have
Oh,
someone
and of
else with
course
us.
there's a special guest.
Yes.
Have we said who the special guest
No,
is yet?
should we say that now?
You say who it is, yeah.
Well, it's the wonderful Terry Adlam, of course.
Terry Adlam.
Dick Spanner and Terra Hawks, full of stories, and was interviewed in Pod, whatever it was, when we met over a cup of coffee at the local Costa here in Cookham. Yes, he'll be joining us. Actually, if you have any questions for Terry, why not send them in as well?
Yeah.
Be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think of a separate hashtag for that. I don't know. Just 50 questions is fine.
It's too many.
So we 50 questions and a special guest. And then for our 1 year anniversary, which is actually Pod 53, weirdly, despite the fact that
Yeah.
you think that was 52.
That's right.
But we'll be doing the podcast live from the Fab Worlds of Anderson at the Space Centre, which is being held on...
The 15th and 16th of June.
Thank you, Richard, for leaving that because I couldn't remember.
That's right. So we'll be there. Jamie, myself, and Chris Dale. We'll all be there for the whole weekend, I think. Both the 15th and the 16th, Saturday and Sunday. We'll be doing the podcast live from the stage on the Saturday. And we hope, Tech being our friend, that we'll be able to do the Fab live on the Sunday. But we'll see.
Yes, we'll do our very best. And Richard, I was thinking about this. How are we going to do listener email type things? Because it'd be nice to have live Podsteron stuff.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants to talk,
Sure.
in real time. So
Yeah.
what I thought we'd do is, if you come up to our table at the Space Centre on the Saturday morning, we'll have some postcards. You can write your question and your name on the postcard, and then we'll keep them all there. And just before we go live, we'll choose our favourite 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah, great.
And then you can either ask us your question live or we'll read it out, whatever your preference
That
is.
sounds like a great idea. Yes. So that'll be fun. So lots of people posting on our listeners'
Loads.
Facebook group that they're going to be there, and there's
I
even
know.
a separate little event being set up for meeting fellow Podsterons on the Saturday and Sunday.
love
so
that.
do come along and join us. And
And
we'll
we might
be
have, some little giveaways there, won't we, Richard? Maybe.
Okay, yeah, that'd be fun,
Possibly,
wouldn't it?
if I can arrange them in time.
Yeah, that's right. And I do have to say a very big thank you to Chris Gerrard, who I know we're going to be hearing from a little later, but
yes.
has also got in touch to say he's going to be bringing along some latex orin masks for the 3 of us to wear. So I look forward to seeing that. Thanks, Chris.
Well, if 1 orin wasn't enough,
Except 1 orin is never enough, Jim.
I'm pretty sure 3 will be.
Yeah, fair enough.
So we look forward to celebrating our 50th and 1 year anniversary with you, Podsterons.
Yeah.
And finally, a little request from me, Firestorm Connected. Now, we're busy working away in the background of Firestorm. In fact, the moment I finish my morning's calls, I'm straight onto something quite exciting. We've got
Ooh.
some rather major bits and pieces happening in the next couple of weeks.
Great.
Which are kind of exciting and kind of scary.
Right.
But for those of you who don't know, and it turns out that there are lots of people who don't know still, Jerry Anson's Firestorm is a brand new Jerry Anson production, originally created by Jerry Anson in 1999, which originally was made as an anime series, which was released in 2003. We're now reinventing an Ultramarionation.
Breathe.
An Ultramarionation is obviously puppets to the next level.
Oh, and then some.
It's Supermarionation on steroids, meaning puppets that can comfortably run, jump, walk, crouch, do crazy rolls and all sorts of stuff, filled with all the action and stuff you'd expect. Faster pace for a modern audience, but full of practical effects, real miniatures. I should say maxitures, really, because some of our miniatures are enormous.
Yeah, aren't they? Yes.
Anyway, look, there's a mini-sode on YouTube at youtube.com/FirestormHQ. But just out of interest, I re-uploaded an old trailer of Firestorm to the Jerry Anson YouTube channel, which is closing in on our 10,000 subscriber goal. by the way,
Hooray. Great.
and there's loads of people watching it
Yeah.
who are saying, I never knew about this before. I mean, that is the nature of the world and content and the stuff that's, the world is so busy and there's so much stuff being made, it takes people a while to find it.
Yeah.
So, I've got a request for you, Podsterons.
Oh,
Will you just take a few minutes to go and grab a link to the Jerry Anson YouTube trailer
yeah.
or to the Firestorm mini, so whatever you'd rather,
Yeah.
and just think, I've got 3 friends who might like this, who might not know about it. Just send it over to them. Send them the link.
Yes.
I would really love that if you do that for us. And I'm trying to think of a hashtag you can use once you've done it. Fire started. Hashtag fire started. I mean,
Okay.
that probably goes in with a load of other things. But
Yeah, well, we'll go with that.
If you've done that, just tweet us, hashtag fire started, to say that you've shared the link to the Firestorm minisode or to the trailer with 3 friends, and let us know what they think.
Yeah,
It'd
lovely.
be great to know, but we've got to spread the word, and we've got to be really active about it, because people do find it passively. It gets suggested on their YouTube homepage
Yeah.
or whatever. But we need you, Podsterons, our sort of army on the ground, to go out there and spread the word.
Fantastic.
So
How
please do
exciting. Yeah, that's very good.
And for now, that, for me at least, Richard, and for you perhaps,
For me, definitely.
okay, is the end of the Jerry Anderson news.
That was the news. That was the news.
Beautiful.
Ah, thank
Gets better every week.
you. I know. Who'd have thought that was possible? Back to Twitter, we have had some more messages. For example, Tony got in touch with the hashtag Jerry Anderson podcast saying, first time I've flown in 15 years, and listening to the Jerry Anderson podcast got me through my nerves. Don't know what the other passengers made of the giggling buffoon with the headphones on, but thanks, guys. Is he talking about you there, Jamie? Are you the giggling buffoon? Oh, well, he must mean himself, sorry.
Thanks, Richard.
Simon says he's listening to the Jerry Anderson podcast and he's the proud owner of Power Themes 90, brackets, sorry. Yeah, I think that's fair enough. And Jay said the Jerry Anderson podcast, Pod 46, has dropped, living up to its billing. Mary's interview was insightful and full of promise for the next instalments, so hashtag thanks Mummy A. Also, I like the new addition, Richard James reading the contents of his junk folder. I can't think what he means. So thank you for all that. You can get in touch with us on Twitter, just hashtag us Jerry Anderson podcast, or tag I'm Jamie Anderson, or Richard N. James. Don't forget to subscribe to whatever platform you're listening to us on, rate us, review us would be nice, share us with your friends, and of course, vote for us at the BritishPodcastAwards.com, and we'll be your friends forever.
Well, that's quite a promise to make,
I
but
think that's fair
we'll do
enough,
our
isn't it?
best.
Yeah.
Now, Richard, having just left the news and said about new people discovering Firestorm all the time,
Yeah.
in real time,
Yeah.
somebody has just commented on the Firestorm trailer, which we uploaded to the Jerry Anson YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. This is Sorvad99, who says, "This is outstanding. Got goosebumps watching this. Hope to see more of this soon. FAB."
Hey, there we are.
That's
Brilliant.
what I mean. There's
Yeah.
people out there who haven't seen it and they're going to love it. So
Yes.
please help us spread the word.
Yeah.
We really need you to do that. And
That's
also, I did put a request in last week for Podsterons to let me know why I should give Power Themes 90 another go.
Yes.
I've noticed not a single submission there. So,
Well, I have to say, a couple of people standing up for it on the Facebook group, but yes.
standing up for it versus giving me a reason to try it. I haven't
know.
seen that. So
That's
I think
true.
we can put that one to bed. Power Themes 90 is rubbish.
There we go. Right, okay. Fine, that's that then. Simon Allen has been posting rather interesting quizzes on our Facebook group where he's been
I've been
using
enjoying these, actually.
Yeah, some puns and so on to get people to guess the names of various shows and characters in them. So I've just picked 3 that I thought were rather nice. And see if you can get these, Jamie. So these are the names of productions, okay, in pun form. So the
I'm
first
not
one
very
is
good at these.
Richard's Indian Cheese.
Oh, okay. So that's Dick Spanner because it's Dick's Paneer, right?
Very good.
Yeah.
Gap Before the Millennium.
Oh, Space 1999.
It's got to be. And finally, To Con Mr. Charles.
Oh,
Who would Mr. Charles be? How many Mr. Charleses do you know?
well, now you put me on the
Famous.
spot. I can't think of any.
Okay. Famous, blind, pianist,
Ray,
rock and roll. Yes, Ray. To Con Mr. Charles.
Stingray.
Ah, well done, you.
Oh, thanks for the help there. I wouldn't have got it without you.
And thanks to Simon for posting those. Lots more as well. He's getting quite involved on the group. Normally with a sort of a disastrous pun nature, but thanks for those, Simon, anyway.
Terry Adam will love it.
Oh, of course he will, yes. He'll be getting all his new material from that for the next... for the Dick Spanner relaunch.
Perfect. Richard, shall we move on to some other Podstron contributions?
Oh, hang on. Just a minute. What is that strange light?
This is the voice of the Podsterons.
Was that a shiver?
It was a cold shiver. I actually got one. Whoa.
You convinced yourself.
Yeah, how weird.
It's very good.
Gosh. Right, Richard.
Yes,
I've
it's
got
time.
the first one right
Great.
here for some listener emails, also known as the voice of the Podsterons, as you
Jolly
can
good.
tell from that funny little spooky clip. Regular listener and contributor Mark Simpson Wedge has written in.
Oh, yeah.
You can also check out Mark's video of the top 10 Captain Scarlet guest vehicles on the Jerry Anderson YouTube channel, if you're that way inclined. Mark says, "Hello, gentlemen. I say
hello.
gentlemen to avoid arguments about whose name should go first. Very sensible, Mark. Thank you
Fair
for
enough.
that.
Yeah.
I have a fab fact for you. Well, we're desperately in need of one because there weren't any this week. I think Richard would like it because it involves sound effects. And in the last podcast, he was playing around with them.
I was, that's true.
You were.
Yes.
Well, also, you and I will both like this because reading ahead
Oh.
involves another thing that we both like.
Okay.
So, Mark has sent us 2 sound clips.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the first one. Well, we both know that, Richard, don't we?
Yes.
That is the Mysteron City from the opening episode of Captain Scarlet,
Yeah.
when the Mysterons reconstruct the complex on Mars, yeah? So that kind
Yeah.
of... Yeah. It's a very familiar sound. But Mark
It is.
says, in 1965, 2 years before Scarlet, that same sound effect can be heard here. Now, let's listen to it now.
Ah.
Now, do you recognise that with all the extra beeps and stuff, Richard?
Well, it sounds a bit Doctor Who-y.
Well, you're absolutely right. It is Doctor Who because it's from the sound inside the TARDIS. The TARDIS's ambient sound from the Dalek movie, Doctor Who and the Daleks.
Oh, I've been watching that recently, so that's why that's the Peter Cushing, of course.
Yeah, see, weirdly, I played that sound to Nick Briggs the other day, and he went, "Oh, I know what that is straight away." He instantly got it because
There you are.
He's such a
Such
clever
a-
chap.
such
I was
a-
going to say a
right.
geek, but
Yeah,
we're
careful.
all geeks, so that wasn't strong enough. I mean, it's pretty amazing to have a kind of oral recognition like that.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, Mark says, it's possible that the sound effects from the Cinesound library, which is a collection of royalty-free sound effects that we use in many 20th century TV shows and films. For example, some of the explosive sound effects that were in Jerry's shows you might also hear in James Bond movies.
Right.
Hope you found this this fab sound fact interesting. See you later,
Yeah.
Mark. Now,
Very good.
I've got another thought here,
Yeah.
which is that Barry Gray was called upon to produce musical effects and sound effects for those Dalek movies.
Ah.
So it's quite possible that it's not a sound library piece.
Yeah.
And that actually Barry produced it, and then when they said, right, we need a sound for the Mysteron City being reconstructed, he went,
Well, I've got
oh,
this.
I've got that old one I made for the Doctor Who thing. We could do that, yeah.
Sorry,
And
was
he put
Alan
it back
Bennett
in.
involved?
Well, funnily enough, they are often mistaken on phone calls.
Well, they are when you do the impression. Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to Barry Gray. He was a little,
Yeah,
little
no, I
light
know.
northern chap. Anyway,
Yeah.
there you go. So I've actually stolen that element of the fab fact from Nick Briggs. Who obviously, I didn't know that.
Oh, that's all
but,
right.
Yeah,
But there's
there you
also,
go.
talking of sharing sound effects, there's a scream, isn't there? There's also a specific scream that can
Oh,
be
yes.
heard in lots of Hollywood movies. And it's got a name, I can't remember what it is, but if you Google it, you'll find it. But there's a scream that turns up in virtually every film, and it's by the same person, probably done about 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah. Funny how these things get reused. But again, I was chatting to Nick, and so many music cues were reused over the years between different projects. And
Yeah.
ITC stuff especially.
Sure.
Huge amount of reuse. But why not? They've got great music cues, great sound effects, so we're always happy to hear more of them. What have you got, Richard?
Hello, gents, says David Munns. I was wondering if there is any plans to re-release or reprint or in general revive the TV21 comics. It'd be great to be able to celebrate the works of Gerry Anderson's worlds in comic book form once again. It's a shame the Eagle Moss collection was cancelled after 5 issues. I believe it wasn't well advertised. Hopefully one day we will be able to see these in newer forms. Great to hear that you'll both be attending the Fab Worlds of Anderson at the Space Centre in Leicester. I will definitely do my best to get there and hopefully meet both of your good selves. Stay fab, from David Munns. Thanks, David. Yeah.
Cheers, David. Well, I can answer your question very quickly.
Right. It's not going to end well, is it? Yeah.
No, the art has been reproduced on and off in different forms in limited collections in hardback books and softback books, blah, 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 blah. So I think the general feeling is that most people who want those bits of artwork and those comics either own the originals or they own partial reprints. They bits of them have been done to death. We would love to see more done, and we are experimenting with one particular strip and the potential for it to be brought to life in a different way. There's a podcast exclusive,
Bit
but
of a tease.
Unfortunately, I don't think there will be any chance of that. I mean, comic stuff now is so difficult. Lots of the big comic publishers are reducing their output because demand is lower, so trying to then make the commercial argument to bring one of those to life again is very difficult indeed. But you never know, so
that's
we'll
right.
see.
We live in hope.
And the Eagle Moss thing, yes, they never really did a national launch. They still do this weird thing where they test regionally. They go, oh, well, let's release the first 5 issues in the north of England.
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't do very well, then they go, oh, well, nobody wanted it. But doing stuff regionally in an internet world where people search for stuff and then people around the place are going, oh, well, it's not in my newsagent, so how do I get it? And they get cross about it. And it's just a weird way to do it, in my humble opinion. But what do I know about publishing? Not very much.
Okay, great. Yeah, very comprehensive answer.
So, an incomprehensible answer, you said? I think you might be right, Richard. Anyway, David, we hope to see you at the Space Centre, and thank you very much for your email. Yeah. I have one from Robin Bedwood.
Go on, then.
Which is, I like the name. It's got a nice rhythm to it.
Okay, fine, right?
Robin Bedwood. Hello, gents. Says
Hello.
Robin.
Yeah.
I was wondering... Oh, no. That's your one.
I was wondering when that was going to click.
I'm just rereading your one. I think I'll leave this in the podcast.
Yeah,
I told you I'm tired, listeners. Anyway.
Now, what Jamie's done here, Jamie, what you've done here, you've copied and pasted these emails, obviously, into the script, but you've just copied the same email in from David Munns.
Oh, you're right.
And put Robin's name at the end.
Right, in which case, I'm going to...
You're going to find it now and read it live.
I'm going to find it now, and I'm going to fix this up live. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Yeah, well, he said he was tired.
I am very tired. Right, here we go. I'm putting it into the script at my end.
Well, shall I carry on with the next one while you're doing that?
No, I'm ready now.
Oh, you're there now.
Interestingly, he has done his best to avoid the usual intro problem. So,
right.
This one's from Robin Bedwood.
Oh,
I really like Robin's name.
You do, yes.
Because of the rhythm to it. Hello, Richard and Jamie / Jamie and Richard.
I see. Very good.
Thank you for providing us with a fantastic podcast about the shows of Gerry Anderson.
Oh, well, this was worth finding. I'm glad you took the time, Jamie. Great. Carry on.
He continues, it's virtually impossible to get through an episode.
Oh.
Without learning some interesting facts.
Hooray!
I hope you like that comedy pause there, Richard. Actually, when I started listening to the podcast sometime after it started, better than sometime before, the only Gerry Anderson series I had seen was Thunderbirds. But since then, I have tracked down and eagerly devoured Captain Scarlet and am currently in the midst of Stingray. I love that. I love the fact that we are expanding people's Gerry Anderson horizons.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Robin, for seeking those out. I have 2 questions for you. Number 1, I know it is a bit more complicated when getting rights for a series to adapt for audio, but if you wanted to see a Big Finish range based on any Gerry Anderson series other than Terrorhawks and Captain Scarlet, what would that series be? And number 2, if Firestorm becomes a series, which I hope it will, will it feature any three-letter acronyms or TLAs in the
Oh,
script
TLAs.
of classic acronyms like FAB or SIG? I know FAB isn't technically an acronym, it's an initialism.
Yeah, right.
But included it here anyway. Thanks once more for the podcast. I haven't listened to every episode yet, but please do remember the Foam Machine special for Pod 50. That's a reference back to the Space 1999 Foam Machine randomizer episode where we said we should have a foam party for the 50th.
Right,
I don't
okay.
think it's going to happen, Robin.
I see.
So Firestorm TLAs, we can't let you know yet because that would be, breaching the official Firestorm Secrets Act.
Oh, yeah, that would never do.
Or the OFSA. Oh, that's a four-letter acronym. And in terms of Big Finish Jerry Anderson series, Richard, well, I know what you want to say, so go on, say it.
You think I'm going to say Space Precinct?
I do, yes.
Space Precinct.
Oh, brilliant. I
Who
thought you
wouldn't
might...
want to see that or listen to that?
Who wouldn't want to see it? Well, nobody could see it, so
Yeah.
there you go.
No, I think that would work.
I think it might work, yeah.
I think it could work. It's Cops and Robbers in Space. Who doesn't like that? I know they've done Star Cops, haven't they?
They've done Star Cops, yeah.
But this would be different. Yeah, that would work. How about you?
Yeah. I don't know, actually. I think a slightly more grown-up, less kooky, weird, and slightly darker Secret Service reboot on
Wow.
audio.
But really?
Yeah, and we'll set it slightly after Stanley Unwin has, in the character,
Yeah.
Father Unwin has died and is being
Right.
replaced by a new, slightly weird vicar,
Right.
probably played by Ian McShane.
Oh.
And
Right.
he gets rid of Matthew the gardener and Mrs. Appleby because he wants to do his own way. And the locals don't like him, and he's a lot darker, and he gets involved in some pretty scary stuff. No Unwinese or McShanese.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I do.
With hilarious consequences.
With no hilarious consequences.
well. Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what I do.
Okay.
So Ian McShane, if you're listening and you fancy
bound to be.
playing Father McShane in this new Secret Service reboot,
Well.
which isn't happening, then we'd love to hear from you. Right. I told you
Great.
I'm tired. I've gone a bit weird now.
Yes, you really have. Right, and moving on very quickly to our last email. Hi, Jamie and Richard, and this is from Chris Gerard, who we mentioned earlier. I hope you're both well. Once again, I'd like to thank you for your fantastic podcast. Every week I look forward to listening to each new podcast, and every week you never fail to disappoint and entertain. Thank you, he says.
What?
Last week's first part interview with your mother Mary was a real delight and extremely interesting and fascinating. Thank God for your mum, as I feel she saved Jerry during what proved to be a very difficult time.
I think she did,
The
you're
thought of Jerry freezing in a cold flat, wearing a coat and unable to afford the heating bill really broke my heart. For this should never have been the case for such a great man to whom we all owe so much.
Hear, hear.
I'm sure that everyone listening would like to say thank you to Mary for helping to turn the tide of Jerry's life and give him the happiness and strength to continue to produce such excellent new work for the remainder of his working life. I can't wait for parts 2 and 3 of Mary's interview. Take care, gentlemen. Once again, keep up the splendid work and see you in June at the 50th podcast celebrations in Leicester. All the best, Chris Gerard. Thank you very much. That's lovely, isn't it?
Is he Gerard or Garrard?
Well, I'm giving it the soft G.
Interesting.
But it's rather like Butt Rogers was Gil Gerard, wasn't he? If you remember that from the 1970s.
I didn't remember that. I only asked because we had a Garrard,
A garage, yes. Yes.
a Gallard at my school.
Oh, right,
And I
okay.
wonder if it was the same rule if you replace the R's or just
Well-
replacing the L's with the R's make it a soft G. Who knows?
I don't know. We can ask him in Leicester, can't we?
Yes, Chris, we look forward to establishing your surname pronunciation in Leicester.
That's right. Now, and I do have one final email here. This is from Marius Petri. Marius Petri's got in touch to say, "Dear friend," which is a nice way of subverting the usual
Shame it
Jamie
wasn't
Richard thing.
friends, but
Yeah.
okay.
Singular. It says, read this email carefully. This window of opportunity won't stay open long. After many attempts of trying to make money on the internet, I decided to give this one a try. Just give one person a $5 gift. Follow the simple instructions. In 2 weeks, you could have $10,000. Oh, okay.
Oh, what?
Oh, no, sorry. This isn't. No, this is from my. It's my junk folder. Sorry again.
Oh,
this
not
hasn't
again.
come to the podcast. No. Oh, so sorry about that. So, there we are.
Every time I think we're going to make our
No.
fortune, and then you snatch the opportunity away because it's junk. Anyway, listeners, Podsterons, Sorry about Richard's junk email folder, and thank you for your emails. If you want to join in with the fun, in inverted commas, then do drop us a line, podcast@jerryanderson.co.uk, or tweet us with hashtag #JerryAndersonPodcast at Richard N. James, or...
I'm Jamie Anderson.
Thank you, Richard. I didn't want to say it because it sounds weird when I say it.
Great.
Anyway.
Yes.
Well, I'm just saying, but I'm looking at the clock and I can see there's 8 minutes until my phone call with ITV.
I know, and I know, yes. We better plough on?
We should plough on with the interview.
Yeah, go on then.
Should I say what it is?
Go on then.
Right, this week it's part 2 of 3 with my mummy, Mary Anderson, talking about sort of middle phase of her marriage with Dad and all the stuff they got up to in terms of productions, etc., and his advertising career into Space Precinct times, with some more interesting bits and pieces and insights from her. So,
lovely.
Let's go over to Mummy A.
He became rather more suspicious about people.
Yeah, well, understandably.
And he wanted as much control as he could of everything that he did or was involved in.
Yeah.
And I think a few people who would have done deals with him backed out because he wanted so much control.
Yeah.
But as you say, having been fallen on hard times, it's understandable.
Yeah. Now, from memory, the initial stuff with Christopher, which you weren't sure you could remember, but I'm sure it was to do with buying an ITV franchise or pitching to take over an ITV franchise of some description, which then fell through. Mm-hmm. So you suggested they could work together maybe beyond this, I'm guessing, and the result was eventually Terrorhawks. But was it just straight away like you two should work together, get heads together, what show could we make? And Dad came up with one on the spot, or over a few. Can you remember the kind of the genesis of that partnership with Terrorhawks?
Not really. I suggested he should think about working with Christopher, and Christopher was, amenable to that, and he was quite sort of keen to get into the world of television. And I remember they went out to Japan to try and raise money. They, I think, got some money from Time Life, the book magazine outfit. They went out to see Tohoku Shincha, various people. And I can't remember how the genesis of Terrorhawks, but I think Terrorhawks, Thunderbirds, it was playing on the title.
That's the thing, I think, where he'd done some stuff with Reg that was going to be Thunderhawks.
Yeah.
And there's artwork that exists, slightly more retro stuff than eventually end up using, which I'm pretty sure was Reg's. So there must have been something before.
Yes, sure. Well, there were always projects.
Yes, as we know.
Always. I've got files full of projects down in the office.
And I've got files full of projects in of my filing cabinet. There's there's a huge amount of those.
Yeah.
Sure. And at what point did you get Richard Gregory in to pretend that you were in pre-production and fake it with the investors and go for your Chinese meal or whatever it was?
Fairly early on, I think. I think a couple of chaps from Time Life came over or were coming over.
Yeah.
We'd sort of thought about premises at Bray Studios, and I think we might have talked them into letting us have an office or two and a bit of a workshop. And then, who did we get together? We met for a Chinese meal in Beaconsfield.
Yeah.
And we had Stephen Begg.
Yeah.
And Richard Gregory.
Yeah.
And there were a few other people, but that was our sort of first meeting, because Stephen Begg had written to Dad as a real youngster.
Yeah.
I think he's from Edinburgh, isn't he?
That's it. Yeah, he's an Edinburgh boy.
That's it. Yes. And he'd been a huge fan, and Dad had replied to him, and it sort of carried on from there.
Yeah, and Steve showed him a little reel at some event somewhere. Maybe it was at Blackpool, actually. I think Steve took up a roll of film.
Could be.
I'll have to look into this, but I'm pretty sure he took a roll of film for the kind of war short that Steve made. Mm. And that was enough to impress Dad.
Yes, because we were setting up an exhibition of some sort at Blackpool. We spent a week of our honeymoon up there, which is a bit surprising when you've married a big-time film producer to spend your honeymoon in Blackpool. But there you go. And I think Mark Harris was doing something up there, and he...
Space City.
Yeah, Space
that
City,
the
that's it, yeah. So Mark Harris was involved as well. I always remember Stephen Begg, first time I think we met him and his then girlfriend. She told us a story of how he would sit at the breakfast table and bite his toast into shapes of Thunderbird 2.
I'm sure Steve will be thrilled to know that information is out in the,
Well,
in the public domain.
You might want to, because I like Steve, so you might want to cut
Not
that
anymore.
bit out.
Sorry, no, that's staying in 100%. Okay, so Steve was a massive geek. But so for this then, Dad's already doing the thing that he did previously of gathering together young, enthusiastic,
That's it.
new people.
Yes, yeah.
And so was that, I don't know, was that a nice kind of feeling? Was there a kind of an energy and a dynamism to, to
A
that group?
huge enthusiasm, and people getting their first breaks, which was lovely. And also people like Christine Glanville,
Yes,
who headed up the puppet outfit,
yeah.
and she was lovely. Such a nice soul. Bob Bell,
Yes, of course.
who had worked with Dad previously.
Peter
Peter Holmes.
Peter Holmes, yeah.
Prop master. Yeah. Xena.
Yeah. Wardrobe?
Wardrobe, yeah.
So lots of people have that. So this is interesting, and you may, yeah, I mean, I think the answer is probably obvious, but I noticed there are certain names that came back from the Century 21 days, and others who were in similar positions who didn't. Some of those cases it's because people had moved on to bigger things, like Derek and Brian, I guess. Others because they'd fallen out. Others because there was side taking.
Oh, a lot of side taking,
Yeah.
which, I mean, there always is.
You can't avoid it, but because I mean, Dad was fiercely loyal to those who he didn't fall out with, so I'm guessing that others, you know, they sided with the Sylvia camp,
Yeah,
and so
sure.
they weren't welcome back to
Sure. Yes.
Terrorhawks.
Yes, I mean, yeah, people always take sides, and so that's where it is. Who else came back? Des Saunders, Alan Patillo.
Yeah, Alan Hume. Is that a name? Or am
I think he was.
Up? Or who's the lighting cameraman guy?
Harry Oakes.
Harry Oakes. That's
Yes.
what I was thinking of.
Harry Oakes, yes. So you had a mix of the old, not in years, but old experience,
Experienced.
old Anderson crew,
Yeah.
and the youngsters.
So that's quite
Which
nice.
it was great because you get the energy and you get the experience and the expertise, and yeah. So that was all good.
Okay, so Terrorhawk gets underway then.
Yeah.
You get the commission from, was it LWT or?
LWT, yes,
I think
that's
so.
it. Yeah.
So things start and kick off, and I mean, it was the budgets were a lot tighter than anyone would have wanted, right?
Yeah.
That was Christopher driving that, saying, you know, this thing.
Oh yes, Christopher was very, very careful with money. Trying to think, we had a wonderful production accountant called Ernie Shepherd, who could talk for England. he was great, and then I think my chum George Marshall came in. Got a feeling he might have been. Anyway, all good. So we did one series.
You did a series of 26.
Yeah.
83 to 84, I guess, and then another series of 13 in 85, 86.
Yeah.
Because Richard Gregory recounted to me for the second series that you brought me in a little carry thing, and that's when he first remembered meeting me on Terrorhawks. So when you were doing series one, what was the feeling like? I mean, what were you doing on series one? What was your role?
Me?
Yeah.
I was production secretary.
Okay. And what did that entail day to day?
Doing just about everything in the office that nobody else wanted to do.
Right. Okay. So
Yeah.
faxes, letters, copying scripts, pink
Yeah,
pages,
yes,
inserts.
the whole thing. Yes, yeah.
Probably-
But it was good fun, and being Bray, it wasn't very far to go to work every day,
No.
so that was good.
And lunchtimes in the bar, or was that the reserve of the actors and some of the special effects boys?
We tried to discourage lunchtime in the bar because you waste so much time.
Well, that didn't go very well according to Jeremy Hitchen and Steve Begg. They told me there was a lot of time spent in the bar.
I said we tried to discourage, yes. But when you get people, yes, like those, and Windsor Davis,
Yes.
who was always first out of the recording studio into the bar.
And Leslie said to Jeremy, "You and me, boy,
Yeah.
is going to
Boyo.
the bar." Boyo.
Yeah. He was great. Who else? Of course, we had the lovely Denise Breyer,
Yes.
the one and only.
Yes. Still going now.
Who was great, yes, I know. She was a lovely lady.
Was she, I feel like she was probably the kind of the ultimate pro among that group, because you had Jeremy and Robbie, then Ben,
Yeah,
who were probably messing around a bit.
yes. Windsor was good, because he could switch in and then switch out.
Yes.
But Denise was kind of Queen Mum.
Yes, and Annie Riddler, what was she like?
She was good. She was a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the two pros, the two naughty boys, and Windsor
and
in
Windsor,
between,
yeah.
kind of with a balance.
yeah, that's it.
Okay. And a happy, fun crew. I mean, Steve Begg again recounts what a fun time it was.
It was great. It was great because we didn't have anybody breathing down our necks creatively. We were left to it. I think we used to get the odd visit from LWT, but we all sort of behaved on our best behaviour, and that was okay. We were always tight on money, always late getting money from Time Life or whoever it was who were financing us. But yeah, we did okay on it.
What was the feeling amongst the crew and the stars in terms of what you were turning out? Did it feel like a revival of the stuff,
Well, yes,
the golden
because
age?
because it was glove puppets, and they were operated from underneath. It did feel retro,
Yeah.
but it was also as state of the art as it could be at that time.
Yeah.
With the special effects and things.
And what from your point of view was, well, from the crew's point of view, people working on it, was the public reaction to it? 'Cause it was quite popular among kids at the time.
Yes, it was. I mean, the ratings were pretty good. But then I think they were pretty good, but because they weren't wonderful, then LWT didn't put any oomph behind publicising it or doing anything. It was just, another series.
Yeah.
And I think, did we get commission for a second 13?
So you did the first 26, and then it was the 13.
Yeah, yes.
But that was it.
That was it.
And so that was coming to a close. Anything was there anything in the pipeline at that stage post Terrorhawks, or was it just like, oh, what next?
I think it was a what next. Christopher, by then, had decided he was going to basically go and live in Portugal, and he was very keen on the music. He got involved, he wrote, he recorded, he had a recording studio out in Portugal, and really he wanted out then. He wanted to go and retire and write his music.
Yeah.
So they kind of went their separate ways.
Well, Chris was still around for Dick Spanner though, wasn't he? Because he wrote the theme tune, didn't he? And he
Yes,
did some
he did.
incidental music, and
Yeah.
he certainly was still credited on Dick
Yes,
Spanner.
yes, that's it. My memory fails me. It was after Dick Spanner that he went
Yeah.
and settled permanently in Portugal.
Yeah. So what about Dick Spanner then? How the hell did that weird thing happen? I mean, I know Terry Adlam had done some drawings and
Yeah.
did a random pitch to Dad off the cuff, and I mean, it's quite a departure from.
Yes, it was,
Terrorhawks.
and it was kind of quirky and irreverent. I can't remember. It was Channel 4, I think.
Network 7 on Channel 4.
Yeah. Yes, that's it.
Janet
yeah.
Street Porter presenting that magazine show. But
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been a 10th or a 20th of the budget of Terrorhawks.
Yes, it was pretty pared back, should we say. And of course the voice was the lovely Shane Rimmer, whose
His
funeral
we've been to
we've
today.
just come back from.
Yeah.
Yes, so he was great. And the writer was Tony Barwick,
Yeah. Certainly was.
who was great fun. He would often disappear for 2 or 3 days and nobody could find him, and we never knew where he went. But then he would bounce back the next day and come into the office and see if he could borrow a couple of quid against his fee. He was very jolly, and those days there was an awful lot of drinking going on.
Yes.
And we always knew we could find Tony in the bar.
Yeah, or somewhere very close to it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was great.
Yeah, it might have been Richard Gregory told me, I think, that Tony wandered off one day to the bar and left his keys somewhere, and ended up locked in the studio, or he ended up sleeping in somebody's car or something.
Oh, more than likely. That sounds like
so
Tony.
you would,
Yeah.
you know, it was fun and
Yes.
not super professional on Dick Spanner.
No. But he was great,
Okay.
and he wrote I think nearly all the scripts on Terrorhawks going back.
Yeah, with various pseudonyms.
One or two, yes, or loads of pseudonyms. Yes.
Felix Katstein and
Yes, yeah.
many others. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was all good. Then we do Dick Spanner.
And then it's the Space Police pilot at this point, I think.
Or was it commercials for Dad?
Well, I think the Space Police pilot was 86, 87, and that's the same time as Spanner. So this must have gone straight after, and that's when him and Christopher split, right? Because Christopher still did the music for even Space Police, I think. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is all quite a short period, relatively speaking, anyway.
Yes.
So you do Space Police again with Shane Rimmer.
Yep.
Shane's back around, back in the fold for this point. I mean, the ambition for Space Police was pretty massive. Do you remember where the money came from for that? Or how that came about?
No, I don't. Sad to say.
Just appeared. I mean, that was again, Christine Glanville, Steve Begg, Rich Gregg, so carrying over all the team who'd actually
A lot of
through
yes.
Terrorhawks, Dick Spanner,
And collecting a few new people, as one always did. I think the heads and the animatronics and things were a bit out of our reach.
Yeah.
And I remember that there was a model maker type girl from Iceland
Okay.
called Mickey something. The names always end in .ear, daughter of. I can't remember what her proper name was.
Okay.
But she talked a good talk, but was unable to follow through with what she'd promised on the heads and things.
So that was probably a case of Richard Gregory and Christine Glanville coming to the rescue as much
Picking
as
up the
possible,
pieces,
I imagine.
yeah.
As so often happened. So that was a fun little thing. So then the plan obviously was to take that pilot when it was completed and go and use it to raise the finance and sell it. So I mean, it wouldn't actually resurface until '94. So what happened? Did Dad go out and try and sell it?
He obviously tried to sell it and got nowhere. And then he got somehow an introduction to the moving picture company up in Wardour Street.
Yeah.
I think they may have done some post-production on Space Police.
Yeah.
And they had a delightful MD, David, I've forgotten his surname, but he was a great guy, and at the time they were one of the biggest commercial producing companies.
Yeah.
And they offered Dad to go and do a commercial or two with his own producer, and he was on a percentage of the budget, and it was very handsome money at the time.
And commercials are.
Oh, it was great. I think if he'd stayed doing that for the rest of his years, we wouldn't be sitting here now. But anyway, and he did one or two series of commercials. Tennant's Lager.
Yeah, with Lou Tennant, who was the Dick Spanner-esque
Yeah,
character.
that's it. 2 or 3 of those. Silhouettes, sanitary towels was another one.
Yes, I remember with the origami animated bird drinking the water.
Yes, beautifully done with a very clever lady called Joan Ashworth.
Yes.
Ashworth, yeah. What else did we do?
Royal Bank of Scotland.
Royal Bank of Scotland, that lovely commercial that we all called Shoes.
Yeah.
Which was the Giacometti figures.
Yes. So that was, and again, that's Richard Gregory coming to the rescue.
It is.
Because they couldn't make them stand up, could they? They were going to try and fly them on wires.
Yeah.
And Richard worked out a way to cut them into the floor.
And won some awards. That was a really good,
Yeah.
a good commercial. And
Burger King.
Burger King, and he went out to New York and did a Cheerios one or something.
Alphabets.
That's it.
Because I was in the Alphabets. Do you remember he got somebody to make giant letters, giant
and the
pieces
kids
of
had
cereal.
to sit on them. Or,
Yeah, but he filmed a load of tests with me at home.
Oh, it's because you were cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap and I was small.
Yeah.
So I would, fit
That's
around
it.
them.
Yeah,
But
bit different now.
So, yeah, thank you very much. Somewhere on a VHS, I've got that letter test.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, because
Wonderful.
there's me sitting in a giant C in the garden,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was filming some smaller ones on a desk to try and see how they compared size-wise and whether it matched up. And I'm in the background, and you come and knock on the office door, and I can hear you open it and go, "Oh, sorry," and I said, "We're working, Mum, but you can come and have a look if you like." Little precocious
Yes.
tosser I was, still am.
Yeah.
So all the adverts, and that came at a good time then. So
Yes.
When did you? This is slightly irrelevant for podcast listeners, but I'm interested. When did he leave the flat then, and when did you move to Green Man, which was the family home I grew up in?
We
for
married
listeners?
in April 81,
Yeah.
and we moved to Green Man, I think, towards the end of 81.
Okay. So what was the change in fortunes that allowed for the purchase of that house then? Because to go from pretty destitute 79, 80 to kind of...
Well, what had we done? I can't remember going back now, but we'd obviously done sufficiently well that we could afford to move.
Yeah, well, you said you were doing radio stuff at the time, weren't you? So you were obviously working.
Yeah, well, I didn't earn that much. So, no, we'd obviously, been fairly frugal with our whatever
Yeah.
we earned, and we were able to move. But I mean, and also property was not cheap, but
Yeah,
relatively.
it's not like it is now.
No,
Yeah,
no.
fair enough. Okay.
So that was all good.
So lots of adverts and stuff, and then at some point you started managing the licensing for the old properties on behalf of...
ITC it was. Yes, so yeah, we had a couple of years doing the merchandising, licensing. We did quite well, and we had quite a few decent licenses, which was why when we were doing quite well, we were shafted by Copyright Promotions,
Yeah.
who went to ITC and said, "Oh, we can do this better." And so we had the rug pulled out from underneath, which I shall remember till my dying day.
Yes, as you told me before.
Oh dear.
No fan of CPLG. But in that time then, was it you that licensed the Thunderbirds stage show in that case? Because that
Yes.
would have been mid-late 80s that it started with John Gore and
That's
Andy
it.
Dawson and Gavin Robertson.
Yes, all the guys, yes. Because I remember the boys coming down to Bray Studios with their Thunderbirds hats on.
Yep.
And they walked into Dad's office and I could see the colour drain from his face.
So was he not instantly converted to...
No, absolutely not. But because I mean, mime and lads with hats on was not really something he could see as being commercial.
Yeah.
But obviously John Gore talked him round.
Yeah.
And the stage show was very successful.
Yeah, for you, it had multiple runs, didn't it? And,
That's it, and all over, Japan and Australia and things.
Yeah, so 'cause you had Wayne Forrester involved in that eventually,
Yeah.
and then later for a short time Richard James,
Yes.
bizarrely, as
Yes.
small a world as this thing is.
I know it is. So that was all good. So then what did we do after that? Oh, you were born, weren't you?
In 85, yes.
85, yes.
In the middle of all this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, which is why I remember things like the Alphabets letter test, and
Yeah.
I remember going to a few commercial shoots for the Domestos.
Oh yes,
Ad.
Dom.
Yeah, and by this time, I think, end of the 80s, very early 90s, you had the shed alongside the Bond stage at Pinewood, where a lot of the stuff was being done out of.
Yeah.
Do you remember Shed 11, was it?
I do. I do indeed. Yeah.
rickety old long windy shed, which
That's it, yeah.
normally had Richard Gregory, Mark Harris, Christine Glanville, Lindsay Harris,
Oh yeah.
and a couple of other people in building stuff for normally commercials, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
There was the Swinton car insurance advert,
Yeah.
which was in '91. Mm-hmm. So it's all about the commercials, really.
Yes.
Until stupid dog. Until Space Precinct time. But of course, the thing I'm not thinking about now is the bloody Thunderbirds revival on the BBC in the early '90s.
Yeah.
So what was happening around that time? So obviously doing okay with the commercials, and then suddenly you get the news that this is going to be reshown. Was that any expectation about?
I think there was huge expectation
really?
on Dad's part.
He was very hopeful.
That he would be called upon to redo
Something.
something.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a mania around the Christmas, whenever it was, 'cause they had Anthea Turner making the Tracy Island on television.
Yeah. Well, it's number one Christmas toy.
That's it.
Christmas '91, I guess.
Yeah. So that was huge. And I remember a certain toy shop owner whose name I remember but won't divulge,
Okay.
telling me that he had a queue of people outside wanting to buy Tracy Island, and one particular lady offered to sleep with him if he would get her a Tracy Island for her son.
Wow.
Well, if you saw him,
It really was a.
She was
desperate. Gosh.
so yes, I mean there was obviously a lot of publicity at the time, and Dad was interviewed a lot, and I'm
Yeah.
sure he hoped something would happen, but it didn't, because that's not what ITV, ITC do
Well, it was
or did.
Polygram at the time, was it? Then.
Probably.
Yeah, I mean it's changed hands so much, the ownership
Yeah.
of that property.
Yeah.
But at the time, he hoped that everything would kick off, and the thing that he tried to get off the ground at that time was GFI.
Yeah.
I wish listeners could see your face currently, you nodding along to that.
Yes, I just because you jog my memory on these, because I somehow had filed them all away, never to be
I'm
examined
not
again.
surprised, especially GFI.
GFI was another of these ones where the money was promised and didn't materialise. Involved Dad going out to Russia
Yeah.
on several occasions. I remember years afterwards he berated me for allowing him to fly Aeroflot, because in
Right.
those days it wasn't the most reliable line,
No.
but he had to fly cheap, so
Yeah. Wasn't he flying out? Maybe I shouldn't say this because the taxman. Wasn't he flying out with cases full of rubles?
well, not cases, but certainly plenty of cash on him to go and pay a studio in Moscow to
Yeah.
do tests and things.
Yeah.
But there again, at the end of the day, the money that was promised wasn't there.
So they did one episode which I've seen,
Yeah,
which is pretty ropey
absolutely.
in for many reasons, and that was just the end of that.
That was it. Yes, because the prime movers disappeared. I think one of them was quite close to going to jail, and it was
I know who that is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember we had a holiday in Portugal while they were trying to sort of, they were pre-production or kind of doing the pilot episode.
Yeah.
And Dad had brought out a folder of artwork, and I remember sitting at the dining room table in Portugal, drawing costume designs that I hope would be used for the characters. Obviously they weren't, and probably a good thing too.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a disaster.
Yes. Yeah.
So that again, that must have been a bit of a knock, because around that time too, he was trying to do things with Dirk Maggs. If you
Yeah.
remember, so he got Dirk in to do a treatment for Ape Man.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to get GFI off the ground, which failed. So in amongst Thunderbirds being lauded and actually not getting anything in return for that,
It was hugely frustrating.
yeah.
But such is the nature of the business that you keep going. I mean, as you know yourself at the moment,
Yeah.
only too well,
Yeah.
you sort of keep going on a promise, and when that promise doesn't materialise, you look for the next promise.
Yeah,
So,
you take a deep breath and
That's it.
and go again until
Yeah.
it's ready to go. But that did actually materialise eventually with Space Precinct. So what was the story there that brought Space Police out of purgatory? Because it wasn't straight from that pilot into the version that people know from broadcast.
No, it was several years.
Yeah, it was.
for one thing.
There was a period of redevelopment, and you shot loads of new footage. There were new new aliens created by Richard Gregory. The Creons pretty much ended up as they were, with the eyes on the side. There were Tarns with long, tall, yellow
That's
heads
it,
with brown fins on. And then you shot some new stuff with, I can't remember who you got in, but younger actors. That was one of the complaints, that the hero was too old, I think.
That's it.
from
Yes. So
distributors.
Paul Shane was sidelined.
Yeah.
Because the series actually grew legs when Dad had a meeting with Mentorn Films. I'm trying to remember how it came about. I think somebody from Mentorn approached us to do some small job, and then when we'd done that, Dad met Tom Gutteridge, who was the head of Mentorn at the time, and they were doing quantity, not quality stuff for BBC, I think, churning out stuff.
Game show, daytime, that
That's
kind of
it.
thing.
Yeah. And they wanted to get into sort of bigger time, so they teamed up. They got finance from America, or so they thought, again from a fairly dodgy source.
There's a bit of a theme coming out
I
here.
know. And they got a sale with who did Space Police? Space Precinct go with?
Grove Television.
Yes, Grove Television was a sort of slightly dodgy company out in the States, and over here it was ITV, wasn't it?
Oh no, it was Sky and BBC. It was the first ever show that had a windowed broadcast with Sky as the premiere and then BBC Two as the follow-up.
Right.
There. Now, it's really
Thanks,
interesting.
Mother.
Yeah. This is great. This is all new. I mean, a lot of this hasn't been heard before. It's rather a treat, isn't it?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, again, I'm slightly biased, but one might think biased against, because I would have heard some of these things before and lived through some of them, because we're now into kind of, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. And what's so interesting, because normally, of course, we celebrate the great stuff that your dad achieved and the wonderful productions that we made, and we celebrate his huge successes. But of course, in any career, you're going to get ebbs and flows and ups and downs, and
Absolutely.
we don't talk about those quite so often. So it's interesting to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, people get the impression when they hear about big producers or whatever that they, have this wonderful life where everything's terribly easy and they just sit on a couch smoking a cigar. Well, or not by the time we're here, as we heard last time, back in smoking. But everything's really easy. And actually, no, you're right. There are some high highs, but real low lows.
Yes.
And even through to Space Precinct time, things were,
That's right.
troublesome. So
That's right.
There we go. Right, final part of the 3-part interview with Mummy A is next week in Pod 48, and then there'll be somebody else after that. Don't know
Well, I wonder who that'll be. We don't know.
who knows? Now, the thing I will say now, Richard, is we should prepare something cheery for the end of the interview, because obviously the interview really ends with the end of Dad's life.
Sure.
So it's, just be prepared for it to get a little bit sad.
Yes.
Next week, listeners. But obviously, overall we're celebrating a great life and career and a legacy that continues today. So
Yeah, indeed.
it ain't all bad.
No, that's right. Very good. In the meantime, there are lots of ways you can get involved with the podcast. You can email us, podcast@jerryanderson.co.uk. You can hashtag us on Twitter, hashtag Jerry Anderson Podcast. You can subscribe on whatever platform you listen to us on. You can rate, review and share. You could even vote for us at the BritishPodcastAwards.com. And there is one other thing you can do. Join our Facebook listeners group, of course, the Podstrons. As Steve Rogers has done now, he's left a top 10 Anderson vehicles list.
Really?
Which I would urge you to go and have a look at. It includes, in his opinion, some craft such as, Stingray from Stingray, the iconic Space 1999 Eagles, of course, Thunderbird 4 he's got in there, and I wonder if you can guess what's number 1. Well, go and have a look.
Oh, I was going to guess then, but I won't. No, go and have a look. I haven't seen that one this morning.
Yeah,
so,
interesting. And do leave your own comments underneath. I'm sure we'll all love to see your favourite craft from the Jerry Anderson universe.
Yes. Absolutely, we would love that. Richard, any more tweety bits and pieces from you? Because my call has just been pushed back, so I've actually got a little bit more time if you want to do any insertions.
Great, okay, let's have a look. We've got... Ian Jacklin. Now, he posted a link to the evolution of Model FX, which was a little video on the Jerry Anderson YouTube channel from Chris Dale, saying an awesome Jerry Anderson FX retrospective video by Chris Dale featuring an insight to the special effects used in previous Jerry Anderson shows, including the up-and-coming brand new series Firestorm that we've been mentioning, of course. Over on YouTube, because Jamie posts these to YouTube as well, these podcasts, Michator, I think, Michator, I don't know how you'd say that, just finished listening to this episode, which, funnily enough, was the exact time it took for me to complete and edit some work over the weekend. That's useful, isn't it?
Glad to help.
Yeah, the interview with your mum, Jamie, was really good to hear, as I've often wondered about what amazing memories she must have had with Jerry. It really does show how, in those tough times, the two of them sticking together helped your dad to soldier on with his writing and ideas, and truly had the passion to put his imagination to work for all of us to be a part of. And finally, there's an iTunes review from Skyraider417. I've started listening to the podcast in the last 3 months. It's been a revelation. As a lifelong Jerry Anderson fan, I found the content fascinating. Perhaps what's won me over more than anything else is the objectivity that's taken. I'd feel guilty if I didn't mention Chris Dale's randomizer, so inventive and such good fun, and Jamie and Richard, or should that be Richard and Jamie? Yes, it should. Have such a good laugh, and that brightens my day as well. So thank you for that. Yeah, lovely stuff. Thanks for getting in touch, everybody. It's all very
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Gosh, we're awash with positivity today, aren't we?
Fantastic. Yes, that's the way it should be.
Let's stop all that.
Oh no! How could you?
As we approach, well, who knows what we're going to happen? It might even be Joe 90. Ooh.
Could be
on Chris Dale's marvelous randomizer.
Fighting squad, halt! Have you anything to say? Have you anything to say?
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. No, I don't think so. Oh, no, actually, if you could just press the big red button on the randomizer for me, I'd be extremely grateful. After all, that is why I came all the way to your little jungle fortress today.
Of course.
There's a fine body of men you've got there, sir.
Fighting squad, at the ready.
Very kind of you to sort of
Take aim.
bring me out here to...
Fire!
Yeah, pulling ever so slightly to the right there, aren't you?
Fighting squad, failure cannot be tolerated.
Have another go. Yes, absolutely. Why not?
At the ready. Take aim.
I wonder who they're planning on shooting.
Fire!
Oh, excellent shooting, Marina. See, a jetpack and a staple gun is all you need to save my bacon, yet again. And it's especially appropriate that you've saved me from a firing squad, as today's episode is our second visit to Four Feather Falls for some gunplay.
The 4 feathers on this hat are magic. They enable Tex Tucker's dog and horse to speak, and his guns to fire without him even touching them. And now, another exciting adventure from Four Feather Falls.
So here we are again with some more Four Feather Falls. This is actually only our second visit to the good folk of Four Feather Falls. As with Terrorhawks, I think they both landed on the randomizer around the same time. We had Once a Lawman back in, what was it? Last October, November maybe. So yeah, been quite a long time before we've come back here. And this lovely sort of opening pan down the main street of Four Feather Falls. Very, I think, sort of not reminiscent, but I suppose that's the closest word I can think of here, of the opening scene of Captain Scarlet, really, where you see him at the end of the alleyway and there's gunfire and, yeah. Good old Tex Tucker got there first, of course.
So you see, Johnny, the only thing stopping you from taking Russell cattle through Four Feather Falls is the sheriff, Tex Tucker.
Ben, this is Johnny Pesto you're talking to.
Johnny Pesto? Oh. That sounds like a... it sounds like it should be on a commercial, that name, really, advertising, I don't know, some sort of soup or something.
What's so special about this Tucker character?
He's got the same voice as you, Big Nose.
But there's one other thing.
I don't know what that guy's name is.
What's that? His magic guns.
Magic guns? If that ain't the craziest thing I ever heard.
Okay, you laugh, but just you try for yourself. You'll find out.
Well, I guess I'll have a little chat with this Tucker guy in the morning.
These two guest puppet characters, Johnny Pesto and I didn't catch the other guy's name. I waffled over it, so I'm just going to call him Big Nose. Again, they're reasonably well made for black and white era supermarionation characters. I don't know what... Something went wrong with certain characters in the Supercar and Fireball era, the guest characters. Some of them just look like straight-up nightmares, but I don't remember too many characters like that in Four for the Falls.
Hope I'm wrong, but this looks like trouble with these guys around.
You know him, boss?
Sure do. Heap bad medicine, the pair of them.
So you're Sheriff Tex Tucker.
Well, you were saying that while they were in the
To
room.
make your acquaintance, I'm...
Johnny Pesto. And your friend over there's a Nevada Kid.
Nevada Kid? Oh. I think I'm going to stick to calling him Big Nose. It's easier. Oh, no. Oh, gosh, no. I take back what I said about these puppets not looking too scary. We've just got a full look into Johnny Pesto's eyes, and they are... Oh, that's Oh, no. They would rival the Hood. That's quite scary.
Smart, as you put it.
Oh, dear.
Do I have to spell it out for you?
At least there's a nice shot of Rocky framed behind him in the doorway, listening to the conversation.
Get out of this town and stay out.
That's your final word?
Do I have to spell it out for you in lead?
Okay.
Oh.
But don't say I didn't warn you.
That's seriously cool hardman stuff, actually. Spell it out for you in lead. Oh. And he would too.
Tooting.
Well?
He won't play.
Tootie? Did you just say Tootie?
And I'll rub him out.
No. I want to make sure this job's done right. We'll ambush him tonight, the three of us.
Song time. Oh. Oh, another lovely pan down Main Street at night of Four for the Falls as all the store lights are being turned off, except for the sheriff's office, where the sheriff is performing once again.
His ghost and hear the haunting wail of the phantom rider on the Hopi Trail.
We'll get him when he makes his rounds. Nevada?
Why wait until he's out on patrol? Why not get him now when he's clearly distracted with his own singing? I never understood that. It's like the baddies in this town really aren't... nobody seems to notice that the sheriff just bursts into song at the drop of a hat. Nobody ever thinks to sort of... That's the prime moment to ambush him. While he's singing to his dog. Oh, no.
Well, Dusty, I reckon it's time to make my...
They're laying an ambush for him outside, though.
Let's get it over with so as we can get a bit of shut-eye.
Oh, I love the way Dusty walks. Because I imagine each of those legs would have to have been stringed. Oh, there he is again. Or I don't know, maybe the back two... No, I'd imagine all four of them would have to have been on wires. I love the way he shuffles along. He's so cute.
Look out, boss!
The magic guns have saved Tex again.
You all right, boss?
Yeah.
The low-down murdering skunks? Let's get after him.
Baddies have done a runner.
Old-timer, they'll be back. And if Mr. Johnny Pesto and his friends won war, they're gonna get it.
Why is... Oh, God, there's Johnny Pesto and his eyes. They are painted almost solid white, and he stepped out of the darkness there. They were almost glowing like the hoods. God, he's very sinister.
Okay. Then we gotta get him away from him. We gotta make him fight without him.
But how are we gonna do that, Johnny?
I'll think of something. I'm driving them cattle through this town, and ain't nobody gonna stop me. Least of all a star-toting sheriff.
Well, what goes on? Howdy, Mr. Jackson. What's all the excitement?
Oh, nothing, Tex. No, nothing at all. Don't bother your head about it.
I ain't bothered,
Oh,
Mr.
this smells like another vote of no confidence in poor old Tex.
Ain't nothing there to interest you, Tex. No. Maybe you'd like to come over to my office and join me in some coffee.
You seem awful anxious to stop me, Marvin. That makes me more curious.
Look, Tex, I'm a friend of yours. Don't fall for it, whatever you do.
Fake news, Tex, fake news.
Here comes Tex.
Oh, well, guess I'd better be getting back to my work.
Me too. I gotta go too.
Oh, so someone has pegged some kind of note. This is here to say... Oh,
Tucker is
Tex
a
will read it.
low-down yellow coward that ain't got the guts to fight without his magic guns. Any time he wants to fight man to man, he just has to say the word. Signed, John Z. Pasto.
Beautiful handwriting, but he has written things like ter, T-E-R, and
I'm a
has.
lawman. I ain't allowed private quarrels.
Like I thought. You're yellow.
All the same, for a low-down, back-shooting cattle thief the like of Pasto, I'll make an exception.
What about the magic guns?
I don't need 'em for skunks. Tell Pasto I'll meet him tomorrow at sunup.
Again, why let everyone know you have magic guns? That's like a serious... There's a major asset to your law enforcement career. You shouldn't go bragging about that kind of thing.
It's loaded against you. They're gonna use every dirty trick in the book, and you walk right into it.
I know, Dusty. But sometimes a man's gotta do what he's gotta do.
Yeah. What'd it take you
Nicholas
on?
Parsons is really good as Tex Tucker. He's just so...
I learned to handle a 44 long before I got the magic gun.
He sounds so steely. He seems like a really nice guy, does Tex, especially when he's singing. But you know, he's got that sort of that steely edge to him that I think is a lovely touch. Even though this is very much a children's show, you really believe that he could be as cold as say people like Scarlett or I don't know, Joe sometimes had to be. Beautiful shot of sunrise over the desert plains
Okay,
of Four Feather
fellas,
Falls.
time to go.
Boss, you have to go. Tex, surely, old chap.
Let's be on our way before the whole town knows about it.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, I do wish Tex had listened to me. Poor old Tex. They just don't stand a chance.
It just ain't right, that poor boy going off alone to fight those terrible men.
There he goes, Grandpa. I sure hope he knows what he's doing.
You know, Dan, I think I'd better stay around.
Well, I reckon I'll have to wire today for another sheriff.
Oh dear. Okay, it's nice that they've all... You know, Tex thought he was sneaking away early before anyone could see, but everyone got up to see. But nobody actually, considering they all think he's going off to die, nobody says goodbye, and nobody has any faith that he can actually win.
Oh, boss.
I'll be back for it.
Hold it, Tucker.
Johnny Pesto and his
I
eyes.
got no quarrel with you, personal. You see it my way and let my cattle through.
Don't zoom in on those
No
eyes.
one's gonna get hurt.
You called me a coward, Pasto, and I wouldn't want anyone to think I was scared of you. I tell you again, I ain't letting your rustled cattle through this town.
Okay, Sheriff. Don't
So
say
how about I try selling my delicious soup, Sheriff?
Murder of a peace officer.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Okay.
Oh, was that a hand insert shot
What's
there?
the jail? I know you
I
done.
think that might have been a real hand pulling the gun out of the holster towards a puppet.
Glad you wasn't smart, Tex.
I'll have to go back and check
Ain't
that.
a no sheriff. I think I'll take the job on myself. That way I can make sure no one will stop me taking my herds through. And there's gonna be plenty more. Okay, Nevada. He's all yours.
And this was supposed to be a fair fight. I might have guessed the kind of skunk you were, Pasto. Especially after the way you tried to ambush me the other
So
night.
Pesto cheated and had Big Nose hidden nearby. But luckily Little Rocky brought up his hat, so the magic guns were able to fire, but... Oh.
No, Tex!
Well, Big Ben was hiding, he was going to ambush Tex, but Tex was too quick on the draw, didn't need the magic guns there. I don't understand how Big Ben isn't in prison. He is...
Maybe we was beginning to think...
Every time he turns up, it's utter trouble. He always allies with the worst people in town and never seems to pay for it, somehow.
Tucker is the fastest gun alive. What do you say, Dusty?
Okay, well, we'll leave it there then. That was Grandpa Twink summing things up for us. So that was Gunplay. Yeah, it's another lovely little episode of Four Feather Falls. And again, I'm really surprised by how well this, not only how well this holds up, how superior certain elements of it seem to things that happen in Supercar and even Fireball. Also, I think this episode was a really good showcase for Tex. Once again, being supported by nobody, but still saving the day, with or without the help of the magic feathers.
Four Feather Falls.
There's always magic in the air.
Yeah,
as they say in the theme tune. Now, see, Chris thinks in there, some elements of that were even better than some elements of Supercar. Because one always thinks that it's a kind of natural progression.
Mm-hmm.
But I suppose, if you look, with hindsight, it's possible to say that some elements of older shows are better than the newer ones. Perhaps they just were hitting their stride. I mean, things like... the horse and the dog.
Yeah.
In the horse in particular, I think horse is Rocky, isn't it? My brain letting me down. But puppeteering a horse like that and making it work and that kind of thing, it's a real specialist thing. So you can see that later on in the series of Four Feather Falls that they were really nailing it.
Yes.
And there were probably other elements that came along with that too. So
yes. Yeah. Interesting.
So if you think there are elements of an older Gerry Anderson series that beat a new one, perhaps you think the action and the editing in Thunderbirds is better than Scarlet, or you think
the acting in Space 1999 is better than that in Space Precinct?
Yes, you may well think those things. If you think so, let us know. podcast@jerryanderson.co.uk. Perhaps we could come up with a ranking in a different way. No, let's not do that.
No, let's not do that.
We don't need any more rankings, do we? Anyway, so that's it, Richard, isn't it? We're done.
That's it, yes.
Rounded things off rather nicely with a bit of Four Feather Falls.
Absolutely. So don't forget, Jamie's asking if you have seen, or even if you haven't seen, the Firestorm trailer or the minisode, do pop over to the Gerry Anderson YouTube channel, take a look, and think of 3 friends who might be interested too. Share it with them, and perhaps pop it on Twitter. #FireStarted. Very good. And let's get a bit more interest, because we know it's coming and we don't want to let anyone down, don't want anyone to miss out. We want it all to be there. Grab your friends, show them the trailer, and let's look forward to the series.
Well, thank you, Richard. Yes, I was just looking up another comment that's just come in from Rich McGee. Holy cats! That's a must-watch.
There we are. That's the publicity blurb right there.
And Shimo Spooky Apple. I'm hyped with...
Excellent.
What was 19 exclamation marks.
Great. Well then, Jamie, your work is done.
So, yeah, I'm very happy with that. Thank you, everybody. We hope to see more of those in due course.
Yeah.
So that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll do.
Do all the things that Rich normally asks. Subscribe and share and rate and review and join the podcast listeners group and email us and stuff. And until Pod 47, Pod 48.
Come on,
going
think
back.
about it.
I'm stuck in a time loop in a chronic hysteresis. Until Pod 48. Have a lovely week.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Stage 1 complete.
Let's go.
Spectrum is green.
Do you like the chronic hysteresis
yes,
reference there?
Very nice.
Do you know in the Big Finish adaptation of Cold Fusion?
Oh yeah.
There was a joke written into the the script by Lance Parkin, I think, who wrote the original book and the script, where they're in a bar and there's a bunch of drunks in the background singing, "We're in a chronic history," says, "We're in a chronic history." Yeah.
Very good. That'll be us in the bar at the Space Centre then, won't it?
Yeah.
After the first day.
We need a Jerry Anderson version though, really, don't we?
I'm sure we can think of something.
Yeah.
Over to the listeners.
Yeah, but Podsterons, if you've bothered listening this far, then you've got an idea for a bar song for Jerry Anderson stuff.
Did you see Tom Hodden on our Facebook group has posted lyrics to the Fab Facts theme?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Oh yes.
Well, maybe that's what we'll sing.
I think we're sorted.
What a terrifying thing to be planning. Okay, thanks, Richard.
Have a good day.
And you. Cheers.
Bye.
I'm off for a nap.